All right, ambitious UPSC aspirants, welcome back to the deep dive for part 2 of our February 13th, 2025 Current Affairs breakdown. We know your prep schedule is jam-packed, so let's make these minutes count. You might recognize a few topics here and there, but hey, think of it as a quick revision. And there are always fresh angles, new insights to uncover.
Absolutely. And sometimes the real aha moments hit when you connect seemingly unrelated things, like who'd have thought the Earth's inner core could impact our daily lives, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? A recent study suggests exactly that the core might not be as rigid as we thought.
So we've all learned about the Earth's layers back in school. But this study kind of shakes things up. They're talking about structural changes happening in the inner core, maybe even affecting Earth's rotation and the length of our days. Whoa, that's huge.
It really is. Imagine even a slight change in day length. It'll have a domino effect on everything, timekeeping, navigation, even how we understand events in space.
Right.
Not to mention possible impacts on climate and the delicate balance of Earth's ecosystems.
And here's the kicker. This research is based on analyzing seismic data from earthquakes near Antarctica.
Right.
Earthquakes helping us understand the heart of our planet. Who knew?
It just goes to show how interconnected everything is. And for you, our dedicated UPSC aspirants, this means brushing up on Earth's structure, the core, its different layers.
Okay.
But don't just stop there. Think bigger. How might these findings shape future research? What about the social and economic ripple effects?
Excellent point. Now let's shift gears to something crucial for India's development women in the workforce. A recent NCAA study nailed it when it comes to the challenges and some practical solutions.
Yeah, this study is a must-read for anyone prepping for the UPSC, especially for questions on social issues, economic development, gender equality. The stats, India's female labor force participation is lagging behind global averages. We're talking untapped potential for our economy.
And the study digs deep into why this is happening. It's not just one thing, right?
Right, it's this complex interplay of social norms, economic realities, and those gaps in policy.
Exactly.
They highlight two major roadblocks: the burden of unpaid care work that falls on women and the lack of formal part-time jobs. Think about it. If you're a woman managing the household, caring for children and elders, and expected to contribute financially, it's a juggling act without the right support.
Yeah, and without formal part-time work, many women are forced into informal jobs with little security or benefits. It's a cycle that gives them stuck.
Absolutely. But the good news is the study doesn't just point fingers, it offers solutions. Formalizing part-time work, investing in affordable childcare and elder care, promoting gender equality in caregiving. Just a few recommendations.
These are policy prescriptions our UPSC aspirants should definitely know. Analyzing them, their potential impact, and the hurdles in implementing them. That's key for those well-rounded answers.
And don't forget the bigger picture of India's demographic dividend. Higher female labor force participation isn't just about equality. It's vital for sustained economic growth.
Now let's talk Swachh Bharat Mission. This flagship program has seen both praise and criticism. A recent parliamentary panel report offers a mixed bag.
On the plus side, the panel recognized the progress made by Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 2, especially in achieving open defecation-free ODF plus status in over 500,000 villages, meaning that they've gone beyond just stopping open defecation. They've got systems for solid and liquid waste management, cleaner, healthier environments.
That's definitely progress. But the panel also pointed out where the mission falls short, right?
For sure, they voiced concern about unmet targets for solid and liquid waste management, raising questions about long-term sustainability. They also raised flags about the accuracy of the Swachh Sarvekshan Gramin, the Rural Cleanliness Survey, whether it truly captures ODF plus parameters.
So it seems we need to go beyond just ODF status and ensure these initiatives are effective and sustainable in the long run.
Exactly. The panel highlighted the need to boost financial aid for building household toilets, adjusting for inflation, and ensuring timely funds. These are often overlooked but can make or break the success of these programs.
There are UPSC folks. This report offers valuable insights into the Swachh Bharat mission's successes, challenges, and future directions. It also highlights the role of parliamentary oversight in making sure government programs deliver on their promises.
Remember, understanding these nuances, the impact on the ground, the areas needing improvement. It's crucial for crafting comprehensive answers that impress UPSC examiners.
Now, how about a deep dive into cutting-edge tech where AI is making waves? France recently hosted the AI for Good Summit, global leaders coming together to explore how AI can benefit humanity and the planet.
This summit signals a shift in the AI conversation. We're moving past the hype and the fear and seeing it as a powerful tool for tackling some of the world's toughest challenges.
And India is not just watching from the sidelines. We're actively shaping the global AI landscape.
Absolutely. India played a key role co-founding the Coalition for Environmentally Sustainable AI, ensuring AI development and use are environmentally responsible. We're also a partner in Current AI, a global initiative focusing on AI for public good with transparency and accountability at its core.
So for our UPSC aspirants, this means understanding AI's many facets. It's not just about the technology, but also the ethical, social, and geopolitical implications.
Precisely. Be prepared to analyze AI's impact across sectors, the challenges of regulating it, and the importance of international cooperation in shaping a responsible AI future.
Now, some good news on the economic front. India's become a global force in fisheries, the second largest fish-producing nation, a testament to our fishing communities and the government's focus on this sector.
This achievement underscores how important fisheries are to India's economy, food security, and rural livelihoods. It's a sector bursting with potential for growth and development.
So what drove this incredible growth in fish production?
It's a mix of smart initiatives and investments. The Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, PMSY, has been key modernizing infrastructure, boosting aquaculture productivity, and promoting sustainable practices.
And there's the Blue Revolution scheme, taking a holistic approach to developing and managing both marine and inland fisheries.
Exactly. These initiatives, along with investments in research technology and training, have significantly boosted fish production and exports.
But let's be real, every rapidly growing sector has its challenges, right?
Of course, environmental sustainability is a big one. Overfishing, pollution, and climate change are putting pressure on fish stocks and marine ecosystems. And we can't forget the economic hurdles faced by small-scale and artisanal fishers, often lacking access to modern tech and markets.
And then there's illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, which throws a wrench in conservation efforts and threatens livelihoods.
For UPSC folks, this means understanding the complexities of fisheries, analyzing its contribution to the economy, the challenges it faces, and the government's efforts to promote sustainable and inclusive growth.
Okay, let's switch gears now and look at a legal concept crucial for understanding India's constitution, the doctrine of pith and substance.
This one's been in the news lately thanks to a Supreme Court ruling on taxing lotteries. They dismissed the center's plea to levy service tax on lottery ticket promotion, marketing, or sales, saying the power to tax lotteries is solely with the states.
And this ruling was based on the doctrine's pith and substance, a legal principle that helps figure out which level of government has the authority to make laws on a specific subject. It's key for understanding the balance of power between the central and state governments.
Put simply, the doctrine says that when it's unclear who has jurisdiction, the courts look at the true nature or essence of the law, not just the words. If the core subject matter falls under the states, the central government can't legislate on it, even if there's some overlap.
So here the court decided the core subject was betting and gambling, which falls under the state list, giving states the exclusive power to tax lotteries.
Precisely. This doctrine is a cornerstone of Indian polity. And for UPSC aspirants, understanding how it's applied and its significance is super important. You'll likely get questions about power division between the center and states, so grasp this concept well.
Now let's focus on a scheme aimed at empowering some of the most marginalized groups, the PMDAKSH scheme.
This scheme is a prime example of how focused interventions can bridge the gap between aspirations and opportunities. Running from 2021-22 to 2025-26, it's a central sector scheme under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and it zeroes in on providing skill development and entrepreneurship training for scheduled castes, other backward classes, economically weaker sections, denotified tribes, Safai Karamcharis, and other vulnerable groups.
So it's about equipping them with the tools to succeed in our fast-changing economy. They're offering short-term training programs, upskilling opportunities, and entrepreneurship support.
That's it. The PMDAKSH scheme aims to make them more employable, promote self-reliance, and ultimately create a way out of poverty for these communities.
For UPSC aspirants, this scheme is a must-know. Not just the policy, but also from a social justice and inclusion angle, understanding its objectives, target groups, and implementation challenges. That's crucial for tackling questions on social development and poverty alleviation.
Absolutely. And speaking of social reformers, let's remember and celebrate the legacy of Sadhguru Ravidas. His birth anniversary was recently observed across India.
Sadhguru Ravidas, a 14th century Bhakti saint, he boldly challenged the rigid caste system of his time and championed a society built on equality, compassion, and spiritual unity.
His teachings focused on devotion to a formless God and ethical living. They still resonate with millions today. He envisioned a utopia called Begumpina, free from all discrimination and oppression, a place where everyone could live in harmony and prosperity.
His vision continues to inspire social reformers and activists fighting for a more just and equitable world.
For our UPSC folks, understanding Sadhguru Ravidas's life and teachings gives valuable insight into the Bhakti movement, the evolution of social reform in India, and the ongoing fight for social justice. This topic pops up in the UPSC exam, so grasp its significance.
Now for a giant leap into cutting-edge tech, we've got the world's first hybrid quantum supercomputer up and running in Japan. This marks the dawn of a new era in computing.
It's an incredible feat of engineering, combining a 20-qubit quantum computer called Raimei with Fugaku, one of the world's fastest supercomputers. This fusion of quantum and classical computing opens up mind-blowing possibilities for scientific discovery and technological innovation.
Imagine the potential. It could revolutionize drug discovery materials, science transform financial modeling, and AI reshape medicine, energy, and climate science. The possibilities seem endless.
Absolutely. For UPSC aspirants, this development highlights the rapid pace of tech advancement and its potential impact across various sectors. You need to stay updated on these emerging technologies, their possible applications, and the challenges they bring.
All right, moving on to a legal concept that often stirs debate, the right to reservation.
The Supreme Court recently clarified there's no fundamental right to claim reservation. Article 16(4)(a) of the Constitution dealing with reservation in appointments and promotions are enabling provisions, not mandatory directives.
Meaning the state can provide reservations for backward classes, but it's not forced to in every case.
However, the court stressed that any decision to not provide reservation must be based on solid data and sound reasoning. No arbitrary or discriminatory decisions allowed.
This ruling is significant because it clarifies the scope and limits of reservation policies in India. It's a complex issue with social, political, and legal dimensions. And for UPSC aspirants, understanding the different viewpoints and arguments is essential.
Now let's zoom in on India's growing ties with the Nordic and Baltic regions. Prime Minister Modi recently met with the President of Estonia, marking the start of ministerial exchanges in the India-Nordic-Baltic format.
This format brings India together with 8 countries: Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. It reflects India's strategy to diversify partnerships and expand its global presence.
The Nordic and Baltic countries are known for their expertise in clean energy innovation and sustainable development. This collaboration holds huge potential for cooperation in trade technology, climate change mitigation, and maritime security.
For UPSC aspirants, this development underlines the importance of understanding India's foreign policy goals and its evolving relationships with countries and regions around the world. We're in an increasingly interconnected world, and India's role keeps evolving.
Now let's dive into a concept gaining traction in economics: gross domestic knowledge product, or GDKP.
GDKP is basically a proposed metric to capture the knowledge produced and used within an economy. Think of it as a step beyond GDP. It recognizes the growing importance of knowledge as a driver of economic growth.
It considers things like the value of knowledge created by different sectors, the cost of learning, and how well an economy absorbs knowledge. It acknowledges that in our knowledge-driven world, creating, sharing, and applying knowledge is as important as producing goods and services.
GDKP, though still in development, reflects a shift in how we think about economic progress and the role of knowledge in future growth. It's something UPSC aspirants should be aware of, as it represents the changing landscape of economic thinking.
Now let's focus on a topic that connects agriculture, heritage, and the environment. Globally important agricultural heritage systems, or GIHS.
These are extraordinary agricultural systems shaped by generations of farmers who've adapted to local ecological and cultural conditions. They're living proof of the ingenuity and resilience of farming communities, representing a rich tapestry of traditional knowledge, biodiversity, and sustainable farming practices.
And we have a GIHS right here in India facing a serious threat: the Kuttanad wetland agriculture system in Kerala, known for its unique below-sea-level paddy cultivation. It's now threatened by rising salinity.
This highlights how vulnerable these heritage systems are to environmental changes, and it underscores the urgent need for conservation. We also need to preserve traditional agricultural knowledge and practices that have sustained communities for centuries.
For UPSC aspirants, understanding GIHS, their importance, and the challenges they face is key. It's a topic that links to various themes: agriculture, the environment, and sustainable development.
Finally, let's celebrate an achievement in semiconductor technology: the indigenous, Shakti-based semiconductor chip, Iris.
This chip, jointly developed by iMadras and ISRO, is specifically for space applications. It's a big stride towards self-reliance in this crucial technology, reducing import dependence and strengthening India's space program.
What's impressive is that it's based on RISC-V, an open-source instruction set architecture, allowing for more flexibility and customization in chip design.
Exactly. This aligns perfectly with India's Make in India initiative and its push for homegrown innovation in strategically important sectors.
And that wraps up part 1 of our deep dive into the most important current affairs from February 13th, 2025.
We've covered a lot today, from global summits to local challenges, groundbreaking discoveries to complex economic concepts. And remember, this is just the beginning.
If any of these topics sparked your curiosity, I urge you to dig deeper, explore further, and form your own informed opinions. That's what makes a successful UPSC aspirant. We'll be back with more insightful analysis in Part 2. Until then, happy studying. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more UPSC prep tips and insights. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. Ready for Part 2 of our February 13th, 2025 Current Affairs Breakdown. It's tailored specifically for you, our ambitious UPSC aspirants.
Absolutely.
We know you're busy prepping, so we're going to make every minute count.
Right.
Remember, some of these topics might be familiar, it'll be like a quick revision, but there are always new angles and insights to uncover, right?
Indeed. And sometimes the most illuminating connections come when we explore how global events intersect with local issues.
Yeah.
Take the AI for Good Summit, for example. It's fascinating how this gathering in France is shaping the conversation around AI.
Right.
It's no longer just about the technology itself, but about how we can use it to tackle real-world problems for the benefit of all humankind.
And it's really encouraging to see India playing an active role in this global conversation.
Yes.
We're not just sitting back and watching, but actively contributing, shaping the future of AI.
Precisely, India's co-founding membership in the Coalition for Environmentally Sustainable AI shows our commitment to ensuring that AI development is both innovative and environmentally responsible.
Right.
We're also a key player in Current AR, that global initiative emphasizing using AI for public good with a strong focus on transparency and accountability.
Yeah, it's a reminder for our UPSC aspirants that understanding AI goes beyond just the technical stuff.
Absolutely.
It's about grappling with the ethical, social, and geopolitical implications. This technology is going to change our world, and as future policymakers, you need to be prepared.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears to a sector where India is really making a mark on the world stage, fisheries.
Yes.
India has become the second largest fish-producing nation, which is a remarkable achievement. It really highlights the sector's vital role in our economy, food security, and rural livelihoods.
Yeah, it's a sector with so much potential. I'm curious, what factors have driven this impressive growth?
Well, it's a combination of things. Government initiatives like the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, PMSOI, have played a big role. They've modernized fishing infrastructure, enhanced aquaculture productivity, and promoted sustainable fishing practices.
Right, and of course there's the Blue Revolution scheme, which takes a holistic approach to developing and managing both marine and inland fisheries.
Exactly. These initiatives, combined with strategic investments in research technology and training, have really boosted fish production and exports.
It's a real success story, but we also need to acknowledge that rapid growth often brings its own set of challenges. What are some of the key concerns facing the fisheries sector today?
Environmental sustainability is definitely a top priority.
Yeah.
Overfishing, pollution, and the impacts of climate change are putting a lot of pressure on fish stocks and those delicate marine ecosystems.
And we can't forget about the economic challenges faced by small-scale and artisanal fishers who often lack access to modern technology, infrastructure, and markets.
Indeed. And then there's the problem of illegal, unreported, and unregulated IUU fishing, which undermines conservation efforts and threatens the livelihoods of those who depend on fishing.
It's a complex web of issues. For our UPSC aspirants, this means really understanding the fisheries sector.
Yes.
Analyzing its economic contributions, the challenges it faces, and the government's strategies for ensuring both sustainability and inclusive growth.
Now let's switch gears to a legal principle that's fundamental to understanding how India's constitution works, the doctrine of pith and substance.
Right, it's been in the news recently because of a Supreme Court ruling on the taxation of lotteries.
That's right. The court dismissed the center's attempt to impose a service tax on promoting, marketing, and selling lottery tickets.
Right.
They reaffirmed that the power to tax lotteries rests solely with the states.
And this ruling was based on the doctrine of pith and substance, right? A legal principle that helps determine which level of government the union or the state has the authority to make laws on a specific subject. It's all about figuring out the true nature or essence of a law. So in this case, the court determined that the core of the law was about betting and gambling, which falls into the state list.
Yes.
That means states have the exclusive right to tax lotteries.
Precisely. This doctrine is really important for understanding Indian polity, and for our UPSC aspirants, it's crucial to understand how it's applied and what it means.
Right.
It helps clarify the division of powers between the central and state governments, a topic that often comes up in the UPSC exam.
Now let's turn our attention to a scheme that's really making a difference in the lives of marginalized communities, the PMDXAH scheme.
This is a great example of how targeted interventions can help people achieve their aspirations. It's a central sector scheme running from 2021-22 to 2025-26 under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment.
Okay.
It focuses on providing skill development and entrepreneurship training for scheduled castes. other backward classes, economically weaker sections, denotified tribes, Safai Karamsharis, and other vulnerable groups.
So it's about empowering these communities, giving them the tools and skills they need to thrive in our rapidly changing economy.
Exactly. The PM Dike H scheme provides short-term training programs, upskilling opportunities, and support for developing entrepreneurial skills.
Right.
Ultimately, it aims to improve employability, promote self-reliance, and create a way out of poverty for these communities.
For our dedicated UPSC aspirants, understanding this scheme is vital,
Yes?
not just from a policy perspective, but also from the perspective of social justice and inclusion. It's a topic that could easily appear in questions about social development and poverty alleviation.
Now let's take a moment to remember and celebrate the legacy of a truly remarkable social reformer, Sant Guru Ravidas, whose birth anniversary was recently observed throughout India.
Sant Guru Ravidas was a 14th century Bhakti saint who bravely challenged the rigid caste system of his time and advocated for a society built on equality, compassion, and spiritual unity.
His teachings emphasizing devotion to a formless God and the importance of living an ethical life continue to resonate with people even